So the whole foundation of what crypto is, it's supposed to be a distributed ledger that is across the system. I actually believe this technology is going to be very important.
That was billionaire investor Larry Fink, who is CEO and chairman of Blackrock, a multi-international investment company with over $10 trillion in assets under management. Larry was speaking about the future of cryptocurrency. Despite FTX, despite Sam Bankman-Fried, Larry's still a believer, and I'll play you this full clip as to why. And subscribers of this channel will remember that even though BlackRock is so heavily respected in the traditional world, they don't always get things right. Larry Fink's company was one of the biggest investors in FTX, which gave so many average people confidence in that exchange at the time. And before I play you that clip in full, I think it's important I share with you Sam Bankman-Fried, now officially to be extradited to the US. He could arrive in New York to face charges as early as Wednesday afternoon. And why did this take so long? What's the backstory? Well, Sam was arrested in his apartment in the Bahamas, the country's capital, last week, and initially fought extradition to the US. He didn't want to come to the US. Yet, while his request for bail was denied by the magistrate judge in the Bahamas, Bankman-Fried was remanded to custody at the Bahamas' notoriously cramped and dangerous Fox Hill prison. So he realized how bad and dangerous the prisons in the Bahamas for him were. After less than a week in Bahamian custody, Bankman-Fried appeared in court this Monday and asked the new magistrate judge to be extradited to the US. Bankman-Fried's request was eventually granted during the most recent hearing on Wednesday. So because he couldn't get bail in the Bahamas, he's coming home in hopes, I would assume, he's hoping for some sort of bail option in the US court system. The US in this bear market is sort of having their own issues though. One of the largest Bitcoin miners in existence, Core Scientific, they were publicly traded, files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, citing low Bitcoin prices and high costs. So their ticker on the public US markets was Cores, and they did just file for bankruptcy in Texas. And specifically, what were their reasons? Well, the bankruptcy petition resulted from a combination of a declining Bitcoin price, rising electricity costs needed to power its data centers, and the big one, failure by certain of its hosting customers to honor their payment obligations. It's amazing to me how many of these seemingly safer infrastructure plays are now going belly up. Because I've always heard, those protocols, the individual coins, so speculative, but invest in the infrastructure, like the exchanges, like the publicly traded miners. It's safer. Yet now, the protocols are ticking along fine, and the infrastructures, some of them, are going down. Core Scientific went public through a SPAC merger, in retrospect, near the top of the market back in April 2021. The stock, since then, has dropped more than 98% this year. Well, with all that said, why would anybody still be bullish? It seems like this industry is crumbling around us. Why is billionaire investor Larry Fink still a believer in this space? Listen to him talk about the real reason FTX collapsed, how DeFi is still doing fine, and how he sees the future evolving for cryptocurrency.
Has this changed your view of crypto at all? You now have a deal with Coinbase, and yet you were always sort of also, I think, a bit of a skeptic of all of this.
Oh, I actually believe most of the companies are not going to be around. I still believe that. I do believe
because they're now real, they're frauds, they're what?
Well, I mean, think about FTX. I mean, you could look back now. FTX created it. Its failure was it's creating its own token. It was not a DeFi. It wasn't a ledger that was open to the world. It was a closed ledger.
Right.
It was not distributed. So the whole foundation of what crypto is, it's supposed to be a distributed ledger that is across the system. I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of the huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, well, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in an ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we can have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem. You don't need trust banks.
But does that disrupt you eventually? Because you are custodying all of these assets.
No, we're not a custodian. We're not, we use third-party custodians in everything we do.
In everything you do?
We're not a custodian bank.
So your goal, by the way, I don't think that he was technically a custodian either, which is a separate issue.
I think they were. I don't know if there was a real custodian in that closed ledger, but that's a whole other story. You should ask him that question. No, I mean, the transformation, think about it, instantaneous settlement, bonds and stocks. No middlemen. We're going to bring down fees even more dramatically. As for me, I don't have to vote on any shares anymore because the beneficial owner will do all the voting.
By the way, check out how many great speakers are participating in Bitcoin 2023, the largest crypto conference in existence. It's in Miami next year. Be sure to use Altcoin Daily for 10% off. We'll be there. Come hang with us and use code Altcoin Daily, link down below. This is interesting. Another Crypto.com ad was just banned by the UK advertising regulator. The company also had 2 ads banned back in January for being misleading. So why is Crypto.com facing ad bans? And specifically, these were Facebook ads. And the ad for Crypto.com NFT, their NFT platform, was seen on the social media platform back in July. Well, this is what the UK regulator had a problem with. The ASA took issue with the ad because it did not illustrate the risk of investing in NFTs, and it didn't make clear the fees that would apply. In a direct quote from the regulator, they say, because the Facebook ad did not include any risk warning, making consumers aware that the value of NFTs could go down as well as up, or that they were an unregulated crypto asset, we concluded that the ad was misleading. Well, Crypto.com clapped back. Here was Crypto.com's response. In a submission to the authority, the exchange pointed out that 1, the ad was no longer live, and 2, that it promoted the trading platform, not a specific NFT. Therefore, they said, it would be unreasonable to request that the specific ad include limitations or qualifications regarding the risk of investing in NFTs. Further, the ad referred to only buying NFTs, which are fee-free. So the need to mention fees in the ad was not relevant, and any qualifications would only confuse consumers. Either way, the regulators still cracking down, me still keeping you updated. For those of you watching on YouTube, make sure to have the bell notification turned on. We are dropping an interview very, very soon with a guy from Coin Bureau talking about the crypto market into 2023. Really valuable interview dropping very soon.
Fantastic brother, fantastic business partner and teammate. You're the best. Altcoin Daily for life.
Thanks, man. I love you.
Oh.